Well, now we're going to cross back to the main stage for our second last presenter of the day, our relationship expert, Gilles Bro, who will be presenting on how to make your stakeholders love you.
I'm going to talk about how to make your stakeholders love you, but really, I'm not going to take credit for that title. Actually, this is around business partnering. And our view of business partnering is sort of be a business partner or be out of business. And that's really what we want to talk about. So let me start talking about something that we as an organization do. One of the things that we do is called think tanks. Every year we gather about 15 companies together and we take a particular topic in procurement. Typically the people that join us are procurement executives. We take a topic, we drill down into that topic over the course of about 3 meetings, about 4.5 days. And we really try to drill into that topic. And out of that, we try to get useful insights, some models and tools that people can really take away and use something out of that think tank. And we've been doing this for 6 years. And several years ago, a topic that came up, in fact, the membership asked us, and they said, look, you keep telling us that the world of procurement is changing. What are the skills and capabilities we need to be a new procurement executive? What's the CPO of the future actually look like? So we're going to start talking about, here's our picture of the typical CPO of the future. I apologize, it's a male figure, but you'll understand why it's a male figure going on. Next time we'll use another one. At any rate, what did we learn out of our think tanks? And we learned a couple of things. One, the CPO of the future has to think with his head. That means he is the CEO of his own business. And very often, as a CPO, you act like the CPO of your suppliers. Number two, he has to lead with his heart. That means to appear to be trustworthy and balanced. Third, you have to lead with your hands. That means you have to have credible experience and knowledge about specific actions, or rather specific issues within your own companies, and have specific skills. And lastly, you have to lead with your guts. And what that means to us is something about being able to take on manageable risks, and something we think is very important, and that is don't ask for permission. That you lead your business. You truly lead your business. Once you add the sort of digital kind of perspective to that, what do you get? You get this notion of aligning to your company's digital objectives. It's the notion around making sure that your stakeholders, your users, get a vastly improved experience. It's about making, It's about making sure that your stakeholders and the process that you drive is highly efficient. And out of that process, you actually get better insights to make better decisions. Ultimately, that turns you into what we call the incredible Hulk of procurement. The bottom line here is take a look at the things up there that talk about the kinds of things procurement people need in the future. I don't see negotiation up there. I don't see managing contract terms up there. I don't see bid management up there. In fact, as we got deeper and deeper into this topic, and we brought experts into it. We brought executive recruiters, we brought consulting companies, we brought academicians into it. We brought in a very broad base of people to talk about this, and the skills that to be the next procurement guy, the next individual that leads a procurement function, guess what? Those old skills aren't there. So as we did this, the very next thing that came out of this was a client came to us and said, great, what is all this stuff? We said, you know what it really is? It's something that we've been running around the topic today, all today. It's business partnering. It's about you being part of that business, you being a business partner. And so what did they ask us? They said, great, now I got it, it's business partnering. Well, what is business partnering? And so this individual, this company asked us and said, if you guys were to describe what a business partnering program is, what would that be? Now, we didn't have a business partnering program. It wasn't part of our offering, at least at the time. But we sat down and we thought, what is business partnering all about? What are the set of skills? Somehow it embodies those skills, but let's see if we can try to codify it. And we then went out and we said, okay, what do other organizations in the world call business partnering? And so I'm going to describe for you what we think our business view of business partnering is for procurement organizations. And then I'll make a final comment around how that differs from what we see out in the marketplace. And there's a key part of that because we think business partnering is a journey. Business partnering is not one thing, but it's a journey that builds on several things. It builds on lots of pieces. The first is you got to have some kind of burning platform. There's got to be an impetus to say that I need to change what I do as an organization. The same old thing, doing the same old thing is not what I'm going to continue to do, and therefore I have to do something else. What's the first step in business partnering? Well, it's understanding your stakeholders. That's the first thing. Business partnering doesn't start somewhere else as an endpoint. It starts with understanding what your stakeholders actually want. Second thing, what's that? Well, the very next thing is you understanding who you are, how you like to work, and how your team likes to work. So now I understand my stakeholders, I understand what my team does. What next? Well, it's combining that and building a brand. Building a brand. What does your organization deliver, and how do you express that to the rest of the world? Now that I understand what my stakeholders want, I understand the kind of organization I am, I understand exactly what my brand is, what do I need to do? I need to solve someone else's problems. That's what really business partnering is about. The fundamental issue is, can I solve someone else's problem and help them solve that problem? And lastly, it's around engagement. It's around persuasion. It's around influence. And that's the problem with every other business partnering program that we have seen in the market. And why other people, frankly, don't get this notion of what business partnering actually is. They start at the end. They start at the end and say business partnering is all about influencing and engagement. It's not. It's about taking a journey through this process that helps you get to that point where you're actually able to influence an important individual in the organization or an important function. I'm going to talk through those 5 things now. So this first thing around stakeholder management. What's the tool that you would use for stakeholder management? Well, guess what? You'd probably suggest something like, I'm going to do a stakeholder map. How many have done stakeholder maps here? Wow. Everybody's done a stakeholder. They're really good, aren't they? And then what'd you do? Then you created a communication plan. How am I going to talk to those people at one end of the stakeholder? Yeah, exactly. Forget it. Doesn't work. Because that's what everyone does with it. There's a way to use a stakeholder mapping program to actually look for lines of leverage within the organization. And that's the strategic and tactical use of a stakeholder map. Really to understand who are the people. Who said find your friends? I think it was you, Jürgen, this morning. It's about finding your friends in the organization and using that line of leverage effectively to drive understanding not only what your stakeholders want, but answering their need. What's the next session? Knowing yourself and the team. We use something called the Game Changer Index, and I could talk all day long about Game Changer Index. A Game Changer Index is really, what it does is it focuses on how you like to deliver success to your organization, and most importantly, it's about how your team likes to deliver success to the organization. So we use this as a tool to understand, well, I got stakeholders over here, my team delivers success this way. Now what do? I take the next step and I go into that brand building. And brand building is about what? It's not just about a message. Well, we do some messaging. We think about what messages you have to send. But what is a brand? Anyone actually, I'm going to describe it in layman's term. I'm sure you can go to any marketing book and find a better description. But a brand is the sum total of what other people think of you. That's your brand. Your brand is what others perceive you to do and what you can deliver. So it's forming that brand is not something you do instantly, but it's something that you can actually tailor and create a very specific picture of what your brand actually is. After branding, what's problem solving? We use some problem solving tools. By the way, who has done lean tools in the group? Okay, horrible, aren't they? It takes me 6 years to figure out what problem I have and another 6 years to tell people that they got a problem, and maybe sometime later I can actually focus on solving it for them. Okay, some of those tools actually have value. I'm just kidding. But the fact of the matter is there's a couple of tools that you can use that can help you solve someone else's problem. And that's what the tool use is all about. You helping to solve someone's problem. And once they recognize that, then you become a very engaged partner. And the last thing is around engaging and influencing. We use something we call the PACE model. And it's really a very quick tool that you can use to really help you understand what are the tools I have when I try to influence an organization or an individual. And again, this is where most business partnering programs get a little bit backwards. This is where they start off. And we think your business partnering program actually is a set of foundations on top of which sits influencing and engaging. So I'm talking fast and I'm wrapping it up. So what's the program? The foundation. It's a foundation program, and it starts off with understanding your stakeholders. It's an understanding of knowledge of self and teams, and where we use the game changer profile. It's about understanding about building a brand, how you construct that, how you communicate that brand. It's about understanding exactly problem-solving tools so you can help solve people's problems. And ultimately, it's something that I've mentioned. It's around creating influence. It's around influencing people, but it's also, and it's not around persuasion. It's around influencing people so they recognize that you are solving not only your problems, but their problems at the same time, and for which we use the PACE model. So, excuse me, that's our view of business partnering. That's in principle all I have planned to talk to you